screen. And here it is. Okay. And maybe we'll just go back up here. Okay. So welcome to our invitation and information session for the second National School Redesign Showcase. We're so happy you're here today. And we are expecting quite a few people. I don't know if that will happen or not, but since we're expecting quite a few people, we thought we'd do something a little different than the circle. So we're going to do the this little fun activity where I'm asking you, if you wouldn't mind, to put in the chat your name and the name of your school and which one of these animals you feel you have the most resonance with this afternoon. And that way we'll get some names and we'll get schools and we'll kind of know who's in the room a little bit. And you can see, I know which one my Michelle is going to pick, I think, because I picked this especially with her in mind. So let's just give us a minute so people can get that information in the chat.
And if you're with an organization, you can put that down too.
Thank you, Jerry. That's good. Okay, we got some stuff coming in. And I'm going to see if Jerry will help me out and just mention a few of the locations that are in the chat, if you don't mind, Jerry.
I will. We have quite a few from New Mexico. We have some Milwaukee with us. We have some Jacksonville with us. We have Georgia. Lots of different people all over the United States with us. New York.
All right. All right. So we are excited to, again, let's just create some schools where people want to be. Kids, grown people, places that are joyful and thrive. And we're really sure that the way to do this is to ask the people who experience high schools every day and middle schools every day to be the ones to bring that wisdom. So on this slide, you happen to see a picture of some of the folks that participated in last year's showcase. And you'll see some photos like that throughout our time together this afternoon. Did Bob jump back on, Jerry? Sorry, I can't see. Yeah. So Bob, was there any of these couple of slides that you wanted to speak to?
I know we just creating this opportunity for, schools, teachers, and students and school leaders to come together. And as you said, to pool their insights, to create schools that work for everybody and put everybody on a pathway to thriving. And then also we want to learn from each other and sort of create this network of redesigners together. And then ultimately share what we're learning with others and those that are also sometimes make the rules we have to operate under to have them be better informed of what those rules should be.
Thank you so much, Bob. And you can see here, Bob interacting with one of the young people. We are, again, going to be focused on human-centered design. If it's not good for humans, it's not good design. We're going to be looking at insights that come from the school community. And again, as Bob said, we are looking to network peers to share the insights and build upon each other's ideas. So for those of you who were not with us last year we had kind of 3 themes, and those themes were agency, belonging, and connectedness. And the reason that we selected those topics, those aspects, I should say, is because that's how humans are joyful. Humans are joyful when they have agency, they have belonging, and they have experience connectedness. And those three things are what allow us to create a life-giving school ecosystem. So this year, we're going to invite schools to share series of experiences this time. So we wanted to talk a little bit about why this time we're going to do a series of experiences. And so here you see some dots, right? And on the left-hand side, we could even go a little further left, and we could just have a barrage of dots that would be like rain, right? And that would be like big data, right? It's just coming at you all over the place. But then on my left, what you see is those dots have been mined a little bit, data mined a little bit, right? And they have been culled, and you see knowledge, right? That has been taken from that information. Well, that's a great thing, and we love those dots. If you move just a little bit to the right, you'll see, oh, if I have some experiences with that knowledge, right, then I'm able to make some connections, right? And then you can see how there's beginning to be some shapes taking form. And then all the way over there on the right, you see where these dots have been connected in a new way, or a new idea has emerged. And I want to share with you a quote from Steve Jobs, because he often was asked about creativity, and he said, I'm going to read this to you. I don't usually read slides, but I'm going to make an exception and read this quote. And he said, creativity is just connecting things. When you ask creative people how they did something, they feel guilty because they didn't really do it. They just saw something. It seemed obvious to them after a while. That's because they were able to connect experiences they've had and synthesize new things. And the reason they were able to do that is because they've had more experiences, or thought about those experiences, reflected on those experiences. And so that's really the genesis, if you will, behind our idea that this year we're going to try to have a series of experiences. Now, we don't mean a series like 27. We mean like 2 or 3 experiences that come together. So what will those experiences, what will the themes be for this year? So we have 2. And one of those themes is about pathways. And while we all know that at one point in time, it was really considered a finish line. We're going to get the kids to graduate, right? But now we know it's just a stepping stone, right? That there's more to be seen, and that we need to be on our way, right? On our way. And you see these young people on a bridge, they're connecting to something, right? So since we know that these pathways to adult success are instrumental in young people having agency, and since we know agency is needed for joy, the invitation to you is to co-design as a team a series of experiences that would allow each school member to know potential pathways and vocations that would resonate with their individual passion. So a series of experiences that will allow each school member to know potential pathways. Anything else you want to say about this one, Bob? Okay, all right. Then that's one direction you could go, okay? Now we have a second connection, a second direction. So, you know, humans feel joy when they have connectedness, right? And we feel connected when we have a deep emotional connection. I have a picture there, and the picture is called The Ladder of Connectedness. And I also have a quote on this side. This quote is from Peter Senge. And for some of you who are old, you might remember that man from the 5th Discipline and Schools That Learn. I see some people shaking their heads. Yeah, he's been around a long time. Well, he's reminding us that this ladder is not for us to be able, okay, so let's see how our connectedness is doing at our schools. No, 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 not at all. The importance of this, and we're going to work with this tool for people that are interested in this particular series of experiences, is for us to be aware of how we come to the table, right? How each one of us, what is our current awareness or state that allows connection to happen. And so you'll see on that ladder of connectedness that it goes all the way from emotional disconnect, right? No connection at all, to multiple levels of empathy, with the first one being, I feel what you're feeling and it's not making me feel good, right? We've all been in that space. So having an awareness of what I'm bringing to the table in this connection is super, super important, with a goal of being able to regulate and have a neutral awareness when we're connecting with people, so that we can really hear them and really know them. And the only way we can do that is when we're not in judgment and when we're not in attachment. So that's a very useful tool that we're going to explore in the connectedness realm. And since we know humans are hardwired for this, our invitation here is a series of experiences that allow genuine connection to happen within and around your school community. And that, of course, builds upon what we talked about last year, if you were with us, which was connectedness. Now, let me give you this disclaimer. This is just broad information for us to think about what will we explore deeply. You do not have to come to the table with lots and lots of information about either of those two pathways, because together as a network, that's what we're going to be doing together and exploring and learning about with our own school communities. So if this sounds interesting to you, we are going to have you form a redesign team, and it's a team that's going to have students. Adults could be anyone. They could be a teacher, they could be school leader, they could be community member, they could be family members, okay? There's no, you can't do it wrong. And we're going to ask you, after you form that team of people who might be interested in this, to commit to come together with us for 3 virtual design sessions. Now, we're going to try to make it really easy for everybody to do that synchronously, but should that not be possible for you, we will have them on the website and you will be able to do them on your own asynchronously, okay? And those 3 sessions are going to happen this fall. And then in February, we're virtually going to share our experience with the other school teams in our network. So this is kind of what it looks like, okay? These dates are solid, but we want to get times from you and others who are interested so that we make sure that we're running the sessions at the right time. So I'm actually going to take advantage of this and say, if you wouldn't mind, if there is a time of day that you would be like, wow, this would be the best time of day for a team of our students and adults to be together at some space at our school to talk. If you would put not just the time, but what time zone you're in, then Jerry's going to capture them and that's going to help us. And then after this call, we're going to figure out whether we need to run it 3 times or 4 times and what the times will be. And we'll shoot them back to you. But we do have the dates. So we know the first one will be October 29th. And then there will be one November 13th. And then there will be one December 3rd. And each of those will be setting us up to design. And then we will spend our time designing together. And then February, between December and February is when you'll be able to come up with your prototype and test. And then in February, we'll come back together to hear about how things are going. These are some fun people from last year, just for fun. Wanted you to just see. It was very joyful. We are hoping to replicate having representative teams to come to Washington, D.C. This year, it will be April 1st. Hopefully, we will have avoided all AP tests, and we've tried to avoid a few other things, as well as to work with the calendar of the venue, because the venue is in Washington, D.C., and if you look at the picture, see how you can see the people on the balcony and see behind them in the background is the Capitol? That's the building that we will be in, and that's the patio that hopefully, if it's a nice day, we'll have lunch on. And we will have a setup so that educational policymakers, US DOE people, Congress people, anybody, it will be welcome and open for them to come and talk to the teams and see what you have been up to. So we are able to fund probably 15 teams. We may be able to make space for more than 15 teams. And if we make space for more than that, that will be, we won't be able to fund travel and lodging, but we certainly would be able to accommodate space. So that's where we are right now. That's what we know right now. And what happens next, if you're interested, we're going to have questions and answers as soon as I get done with this slide. If you're interested and you go, yeah, that's something we want to do. And I see some people on the call that were here last year, so I'm pretty sure they want to do it because they already knew what it was. Then you'll make your team. And this year, Jerry's going to put in the chat, and I'm going to put in a follow-up email, a link for you to put your information for your team members on a spreadsheet. And I think she already has that in the chat. Am I right, Jerry?
Almost.
Almost. All right, I'm going to stop this so we can see each other and say, what would you like to know and talk about?
And Linda, I was just going to add one more piece of context for folks that are new to this. I know so it's really two parts. One is that you're creating a design team at your school and you're working through and creating through one of those two sort of our challenges, or even a better one, you come up on your own. A way to sort of redesign, part of your school. It could be, a structure, a practice, an organization that addresses those themes. And, investigating that, getting data on that, creating a prototype, testing the prototype, seeing if it works, improving it. And then basically the Washington, D.C. part is that you think it's sort of a version of a science fair where you'll come, you have a table, two tables, you both present like what your idea was, how you developed it and what you learned. And then, maybe like, what the next steps are. So that's like the presentation thing part, which comes at the end.
Thanks, Bob. What would you like to know? What are your questions? What are your comments? What are your thoughts? See, most of our time is for this. Just a little bit of time for that.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't find the raise your hand button, but I'm Tony. I'm in Longmont, Colorado, which is north of Denver here. I missed the beginning, probably 1 to 2 slides. I was on late, so I missed what the two options are that you alluded to. So I just want to make sure, are we getting a copy of this slideshow? And then could you just give an overview when you're talking about redesign? Is it like project-based learning, maybe just you could redesign like environmental things in rooms and test that, like if you change the lighting, or is it structures down to like a bell schedule, or is it just kind of broad and open, just as I work with my staff on jumping into this?
So I will say this, if we already know what we're going to do, then we don't have any space to create something new. So the idea is we don't know. So we begin the process by seeking to understand other people's perspective. So members of the team might do some interviews or some shadowing or a lot of different experiences to come to better understand what might it be that would allow. Okay, so let's talk about would allow what. So we talked about two ideas this time. So one thing was, how might we allow every student in our school community to take part in experiences that support their knowing a potential for a vocation or a pathway that aligns with them, that resonates with them, right? So what might like those series of experiences look like? The other one was about what series of experiences might allow for genuine connection. And by genuine connection, we really truly mean that neutral awareness connection, right? That idea of people coming together and seeking to really know each other, okay? Either one of those cases, could it be a practice? Yeah. Could it be something in the building that gets redesigned? Sure. It could be anything, right? But we don't know what it could be until we come together and kind of have this opportunity, this robust opportunity to find out in our community, in our school, what is it like for the adults? What is it like for the kids? What is it like for the bus driver? What is it like for people in the main office? What is it like for parents? So that's where, is this helping a little bit, Tony Jo? Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so we use design methods. We use some liberatory design methods, but really we set the stage and then you and your team decide, right? Okay, where are we going to go with this? How are we going to handle that? Anybody that participated last year that would want to just say a few sentences to Tony Jo that might make it clearer? I see familiar faces.
So Tony, it is kind of like Bob mentioned about like science fair. And one thing is the students are going to just be responding to a lot of different questions. And really the strongest portion of this is student voice, them coming and presenting their ideas to lots of different people who are going to come and just ask lots of different questions. Every session, every person who approached them asked different questions. So it was kind of like a 2-hour, maybe close to 3 hours of nonstop kind of questioning their design and how they felt it was going to be effective and how we were going to use it. I hope that helps a little.
Thank you.
Linda, this is Chris Harden. I was there last year with the Swanee Youth Leaders, Bill Keese, and I with John Green. One question I have is, I know last year was focused around agency, belonging, and connectedness, but this year it's about connected experiences and pathways to success. What did you guys learn, and what were your key takeaways from last year's groups and teams that informed what you have decided to go for the second year?
That is an excellent question.
I think one of the things that we learned, and there's really like, we thought last year was fantastic. We got amazing designs. Partly it is this idea of trying to grow this as a movement of like the science fair idea, but it's a different theme every year. So you can keep coming back, right? If it was always just the ABCs, like, well, we sort of did that last year. How can we come back? So that's one thing. And then the little shift we're just trying was just this idea, as Linda explained it, that like, to take your knowledge and actually be able to make it be very applied, you need to have experiences. And so it's like, and it's often more than one experience. So that's just sort of a challenge to folks. Like, can we think of like a series? And again, Linda, we're not saying like, 10 or 15, but like, 2 or 3, more than just one time, one experience, that sort of gives you enough of that variety of connection that you could have your sort of aha moment. Really, that's where we're, what's the aha? Oh, now I really have a better sense of what I wanted to do or be. Or, oh, now I really get what true connectedness is and like what it really means to be like truly connected, not just like we're a little nicer to each other now, right? It's like, yeah.
So to my understanding, you're looking basically for practical application of the ABCs.
Yeah. If you want to explain it that way, that's appropriate. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
it's like depth of knowledge, right, Chris? It's like that thing, right? Like, so you could have all the information that I didn't put on the slide because it was just getting too crowded, right? And then you could have the selected pieces of information. But then there's knowing and then there's experiencing, right?
Okay.
So this is just to, yeah. So
Thank
how
you.
do we set up the experiences?
I have a question. Is there a specific design thinking process that we're encouraged to use or follow, or just is there?
So each month when we come together, we'll have some setups that will offer some methods. You certainly can use your own, but we'll offer you some ideas.
If I've never engaged in design thinking before with students, I get the guidance in the synchronous or asynchronous sessions.
I just have a quick question. My name is Laura Sires, Mountain Vista High School in Colorado. I'm here with a couple of students, and they actually came out last year for the redesign. So they were really eager to be here today and kind of see what the new pathways were. So we're super excited. Just a couple of questions. One is it helpful for us to be thinking about an idea of a pathway prior to going to some of these sessions? Should we talk about that a little bit ahead of time just to kind of help ourselves navigate through the process? And then also, is there like a success criteria or some kind of like rubric that we can look at just to make sure that we're kind of on the right path when we're talking about experiences and trying to build something at our high school systematically for experiences, especially through the lens of gifted and talented students?
So there's both ands, okay? So
Okay.
is there benefit, like, could I prime my pump around, wonder what kind of experiences would help somebody to really begin to know how they're going to align with their own resonance when it comes to a vocation or a next step, right? Absolutely. However, right, we're looking to have the opportunity to better understand what the current situation is by shadowing, by having interviews with other students or community members or businesses, right? Because if we already begin, right? If we already think, oh yeah, we got this, we want to have this, right? Then we kind of recreate or replicate, if you would, things that we've already tried, but we usually put some new names on them. When we're willing to make a space, when we're willing to say, you know what, we really don't know. We don't know. What we do know is every young person in our community does not leave here knowing what away, right? Not the end, away. So if I know that that's true, then I have an opportunity here, right, to make a space and see, by engaging in these ideas, how might I gain new wisdom, new insights, new connections, if you will, right, in the opportunity, and then be able to try something out. And when I try it out, it could fail, and that would be great, right? So there can't be a rubric that says this is the desired outcome, because if you know the desired outcome, you're really not engaging in creative design. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. I like what you said as far as like, shadowing, interviewing, really just trying to get into that piece. Because otherwise you're right, we will replicate the same thing and we'll give it a new name. So I love that. And just
we're very good at that.
Right. Yeah, in education for sure. Yes. All right. Do you guys have any questions too?
No, all good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Did we not talk about anything you want to talk about?
I have a question. So are I want to get my mind wrapped around it in the right mindset. So are we talking about creating a pathway like for vocational school or college or job, just a job? So is that what we're talking about? How to redesign the high school, middle school to put them on a pathway to connect to those different avenues? Am I saying it right? So,
what I would say, it's more about how do you create some experiences so students and their families can make an informed choice about which way they want to go. So it's not trying to create, this is a pathway to get to here. It's about how do we give you experiences to help you make an informed decision on where to go. That's what we're more aimed at. It's really getting at that idea that, like, in general, our system is not designed currently to give kids enough navigation experiences. You might give them advice, but it's an advice from an adult they may or may not know or trust, as opposed to some lived experiences where they could see, oh, I didn't even know that was an option until I was able to explore it. Now I might be interested in that. That's more what it's about.
It's also about, there's a whole lot of options that adults don't know about that kids do, right? And if we engage them, they have some great ideas, right, about what might happen that we just might not know.
Or we just haven't asked.
Right.
Or we're very busy telling you that only so many people get to do that, so forget it.
I'm just wondering if this opportunity is just for schools, or would there be an opportunity for organizations that work with schools, like after school or weekend programming, to engage as well?
Up to the boss.
I mean, we're pretty flexible. I mean, that, last year we had a group that was worked with from Portland. I don't know if they're on the call again today. If they are, it'd be great if they could share their experience. That, worked with students from a group of schools as opposed to a school. And it was sort of led by their office as opposed to by a single school team. I don't know.
Yeah, and that was because we work with multiple alternative schools. So it was our pilot program of photo voice with going into schools and trying to raise student voice through photography. We wished we could have got students on board. So this year we're looking to really tap, now that we've done it, we have more interest in staffing, trying to connect at the school to get a lead teacher, and then be able to pull students and help them navigate the whole thing, because we're trying to build the capacity for them to see these bigger, broader things, because they tend to work in these silos. I don't know, Bob, did that get it? Yeah. Get at what you're looking? Yeah.
I will also say on the call I can't remember who asked, I don't work for a school and I'm not an educator. I work for the city of Swanee in Swanee, Georgia. And I oversee a program with Bill Keys-Nakawe, who's on the call. And we actually do a youth leadership program. It's a 9-month leadership program that pulls students from multiple high schools in the North Gwinnett area. And it's going on its 9th, almost 10th year. So yeah, we're not educators, but we see value in taking students from the community, giving them agency and plugging them in and making them feel connected in their community. And this has been a great way for them to kind of take those skills and show what, this program has done for them.
Anything else for the good of the order? If you think of something, just reach out and jot a little email. I want to make sure you have the website address. So I'm going to ask if, would you mind, can I call on you again, Jerry? Would you put everyone graduates, the nexus.everyonegraduates.org? That website will always have, Greg doesn't have his camera on, but he's on the call. Oh, yes, he does have his camera on. There he is. Wave, Greg. Thank you. He keeps that everything and all things showcase. So if you bookmark that, that nexus.everyonegraduates.org, it will always have everything you need or might be looking for as far as information goes. Our next steps will be to look at what was in the chat for times and then come up with what our session times will be. And let's see. I was just looking. Is there anybody who wanted to put any recommendation about time of day into the chat that didn't get a chance to do that yet? I will tell you that last year we ran, I will say it in Eastern time and let you guys make the translation, but we ran an 11 o'clock session, a 3 o'clock session, a 5 o'clock session, and a 7 o'clock session, I believe. And there were people at all of them, but we just want to make sure we're hitting the right time of day, because each one of those dates that you saw on there, we will run 4 different opportunities on that day. So we will get that and we will turn that information around to you as soon as possible. We'll take the email list from today's participants and we will send that email out, and we will also have it posted on the website.
So then I know several people that want to be here that couldn't be here that would watch the recording. If I reach out to them today and share that information with you guys, you would want it just quick, right? So you can make it.
The first session is
29th.
the 29th of the month, but you don't have to do something to be ready for the first session other than have a team. And this recording will be on the website. Like I said, Greg, when do you think this will be on our Nexus site?
This meeting's recording?
Mm-hmm.
Today's Thursday at the latest.
So it'll be there. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming.
And we do, Andreas, we do encourage you to invite other people to join us. Like, pass the word, spread the word. Those going to be here, have them check out the video and
I do have one question.
Please.
I'm sorry, I have one question. I was just wondering if you could clarify on who can be involved with these teams. Can it include partners that partner with our school?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you. That's the only question I have. Everything else is very clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I was cutting anybody off. It was coming in a little bit patchy.
No worries. No worries.
Are you at Cuba?
Yes.
Yeah, I could. It's good to see you.
Yes, you too. It's very nice to see everybody. Thank you so much, and we're very excited.
Yeah,
we made lots of progress in the last couple of years that we'd like to share. So we're excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, our big learning on these
a lot
teams,
of it came from the work that we started with you all. A lot of it stemmed from that work. So we really did take what we learned from our partnership with you guys, and we tried to build upon it. So thank you all.
We're trying to build on what we learned from you, as you can see. So thank you.
All I was going to say about teams is what we've really learned is that you need to have students and some adults and some sort of school sponsorship, or if you're an organizational sponsorship. But you got to have students as much as you can, in a few exceptions, and some adults and some sponsorship, and you're good to go. And any other combination of adults is great.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, one of the nice things about our school is that we've been building up a student voice team, and we partnered with a grant funder to help us build our student voice program. We've partnered with the Kellogg Foundation, and we've been working on that for the past this is our 4th year. And so we have a really solid group of students that's a student voice group.
Wonderful.
thank you all. It was wonderful to see you guys again, and that we got another shot at this. I hope you all are enjoying your fall.
We are.
Too.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.